do have the pattern available. The link is there. I have a kit as well, which is... Oh, apparently YouTube is having a technical difficulty. Let's check that. Okay, great. Are we on YouTube now? Sorry, I don't think it was working, but hopefully it's working now. If you're over on YouTube, drop me a comment so I can see it. Hopefully that should all be working now. Yep, good. It says I'm live on YouTube now. Good. So yeah, sorry about that. People who were trying to watch on YouTube, it should be live now. So yeah, just as a quick recap, this is what I'm going to be making. It's in odd count peyote. I'm going to show you the basics of the stitch, how to make this nice little clasp section as well, both ends. I'll only show this end in the stream, but this one's a nice simple little one, which I'll talk you through it. And then, of course, if you want to get the kit or the pattern, you can get that straight from the Bead Spider website. There is links down the bottom to go and check that out. So hopefully everything should be all working now, I hope. Let's see. Who have we got joining us? Lots and lots of comments. We've got Rebecca is here. Elaine is here. Colleen, Stacy, Janet and Jane. We've got Diane and Elaine as well. Jackie, Sandy. Nice to see you, Sandy. Jo as well. She says, hello, everyone. So hello as well to you, Jo. We've got Trish. We've got, wow, lots and lots of comments coming through really quickly. We've got Renee. She says it's her first time watching. Thanks for watching, Renee. I'm glad to see you're making it on for your first time. Thanks for joining us. Who else have we got? Seema is here. Tina. We've got Irina. Welcome. Wayne made it too. Sabrina is on as well. A good friend of mine, Sabrina, is watching. Hi, Sabrina. She says, hey, Matt. Lovely of you to join, Sabrina. There you go. There's Sabrina there. You can see her lovely face. So yeah, I'll start off with showing you the basics of odd count peyote. More or less, the way that it works is, if I show you the pattern real close just here, you've got all of your different colors. When you're working in peyote stitch, you work from one side and you work back and forth and back and forth and back and forth across the entirety of your work. With odd count peyote, there's an extra little turn, shall we say, that you have to do as part of reaching one end. One end you do a normal turn like you usually would for peyote stitch, but on the other end you do a second, slightly different turn. I've got as well part of it, it's got the full word chart of all the letters that you'll need to use, plus the colors. Everything is on the pattern. If you want to go and get the pattern, you can go and get it. It's on the website, and if you sign up to the newsletter, it's free. So yeah, essentially, if we have a look, this is how you read a peyote pattern. If you have a look, this is essentially what peyote looks like. In odd count, you'll see that you've got down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, all the way across. Odd count, it's called odd count because when you do your very first row, you have an odd number of beads. So if you have a look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it means you have more of those up beads and less of those down beads. The reason that you might want to use odd count is because if you have a look, you've got a nice exact central row. So if you have a design, for example, like this one, that has a perfect central symmetry, you need to have an odd count so that it's directly symmetrical on both one side and the other side, symmetrical around this central point. Even count, obviously, you would get two separate sides that can be the same, but there's no one single line down the middle that that sort of joins them in that way. So if we just have a little look, I've got, sorry about the cough, I'm still doing a bit of recovering. So yeah, if we have a look, I'll show you how we're going to do our very first little row here. So the first thing we need to do is grab ourselves some thread. I've got myself, obviously I wouldn't recommend using such a dark color when you make your own. If you buy our kit, you will get, I think it's like a really nice sort of skin tony color that just absolutely disappears. It's like a fawn color, it's called. So it's not so stark as a white thread, but it's sort of like a nice pale brown almost. So yeah, I'm going to use this one here. It doesn't matter how much thread you use, you're going to need to add in new threads as you go. So I'm going to just use a nice comfortable length for me, whatever I find useful, and then I'll show you how we begin. Now I'm going to do it based on our little mermaid pattern here. So if you have a look, this is the start point. I haven't cut it out, but we do also give you on the pattern a little paper cutout. So you can cut out your row reader, more or less, and then lay it over the top of your pattern, and it will show you the beads that are in the row. So for example, the little cutout reader, if you cover it like that, you can see, okay, D, E, A, E, D, you know, and so on. Once you're a bit further down, you do also get the word chart included as well, though. So if I just, using my 5 beads, color A is the purple, color B is the blue, C is the opal, D is that gold tone, and color E is that really lovely mermaidy tone, sort of metallic iris bluey color. So if I just begin with my beads as I need to, the first row, if we have a quick look at that, is this one here. When you start with peyote stitch, you do both rows 1 and 2 at the same time. So once I've got myself a little stopper bead on, I'm going to thread the entirety of rows A and row B, row 1 and row 2. And then once I've added those on, I can sort of come back and add beads into the gaps, one by one by one, like that. So essentially, if I read my little start section here, I'll grab myself a stopper bead. Do I have like a rogue bead maybe floating around? Nah, I'll just use one of my beads from this design. So more or less, if you don't know, to create a stopper, you just thread on a bead, bring it down towards the end of your work, leave yourself enough that you can weave it back in, and then just pass through that bead a few times to sort of lock it in place as our little stopper, so that it works like a little anchor to stop the beads from moving around when we're trying to work against them. So let's just pass through it again. There we go. Pass through it a few times, and then when you try and move it, you'll see it doesn't move. It sort of sits in position. So anyway, if we follow the pattern, as I told you, the gold is color D, the blue iris is color E, then we need 1A, 2 E's, 3 of my D's, 2 E's, 1A again, 2 E's, and 2 D's to finish it off. So if I just, I'll just pour myself out, I've got myself a nice little bead mat here, so I'll just pour myself out some small piles of each little color so that I can use them. If you have fewer beads on the table, you have fewer beads that you can accidentally lose or get lost or anything like that. So I just like to work with just small amounts, and then you can just top it up as you go. Obviously, you have enough beads if you're getting the kit to make the whole bracelet up to about 8.5 inches in length. There's a little clasp section that you can increase the size of to sort of make it your exact size, but it's very, very easy to adjust the size to be exactly the size that you want. So there you go. I've got my color A, my color B, my C, my D, and my E right there. And as we read on this little section, so 2 Ds, which is 2 of these little yellow ones, 1, 2, then 2 E's, 1, 2, 1A, 2 more E's. Then we've got, is it 3 Ds? Really? Where's that? Oh yeah, right in the center. So 3 Ds right in the middle. 1, 2, 3, which essentially, if we look at the pattern, that's this section just here. See, look, 1, 2, 3. So then I've got 2 E's, So it should say 2 E's, then 1A, 1A, 2 E's, 1, 2, 2 E's, and then 2 D's, 1, 2. So we're adding all of these beads here in this sort of order. So bead 1 from row 1, then bead 1 from row 2, bead 2 from row 1, bead 2 from row 2, bead 3 from row 1, and so on. So once I've got that, I've got my 3 of those, 2 E's, 1A, 2 E's, and finally 2 of my coloured D. So see that? If we count them, we should have an odd number. It should be 17. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 beads. If you've got 17 beads, you've got the right amount, and that is why it's called odd count peyote, because we have an odd number of beads on our row. So I can just slide those all the way down to my stopper, like that. And now I'm ready to weave backwards. Everything is sort of as you would expect for the beginning, but it will change a bit later on. When I get back to do the next row, I am going to have to do it a slightly different turn. So if we have a look, I've done rows 1 and 2. It's time to do rows number 3 and onward. So if we have a quick look at our pattern, you can see I'm going to need 1 C, 1 D, so I might even lay them out just on my bead mat. 1 C, 1 D, 1 E, 1 D, 1 C, which C is that nice opal colour, 1 D, 1 E, 1 D, and 1 C. Now, the nice thing about this pattern is because it's symmetrical, you'll notice, look at this, 1 C, 1 D, 1 E, 1 D, and there's our central bead. And then it's exactly the same on both sides. Same on the other, look, 1 C, 1 C, 2 Ds, 2 Ds, 2 Cs, and so forth. But anyway, so the reason that there's a lot, you don't have to do the full 17 beads now, is because we're going to be doing peyote stitch and adding them into every second gap, essentially. So if we slide this on down, I want to make sure I've got my work pressed nicely against that little stopper bead there at the end. Ooh, I should have a sip of my tea. Let's not let it go cold, eh, shall we? So, now that I've got this, I'll pick up 1 bead. So we're just working in like normal peyote here for the start. So we're going to loop around. If we have a look, we've got 1 bead just here. We're exiting that one. This is the last bead of that row 1 and row 2 that we just did. If we pick up the first bead of row 3, you skip the first bead and you pass down into that second little bead just there. So working in the opposite direction now, we can pull that all the way tight, and if we get that nice and firm against the end, you'll see that those 2 little beads sit nicely side by side. I'll just zoom in a touch so we can see it a little bit better. See that? Perfectly side by side, just like that. So that's called a peyote stitch. So I'll do my next peyote stitch. Pick up 1 bead. We skip 1 bead and pass into the next one. So if you've done peyote stitch before, this will all be very familiar to you thus far. See that? We skip the first bead and into the second one. As we pull that tight, this little bead that we're adding is going to sit nicely beside the one that we added just before. See that? It's important though, when we're doing this, keep your fingers on the work so that the rows don't twist. So we keep those like this. I'll add my next one. Skip a bead and go into the one after. See, like that? Keep your thumb on it so it doesn't twist. Pull it tight. And check that it's all working. No, not sitting right just yet. There we go. There we are. That's looking good. And hopefully it'll stay in focus. Get that to sit just nicely. There we go. See, look, now they're sitting. So we can just continue down our work as we go, adding bead after bead until we get to the opposite end. Try and keep your tail thread out of the way. It can be a little awkward, but we want to keep our thumb on that thing so it doesn't twist. And then I'll continue with the next little bead. Oops, I think I've twisted a couple, which we can check it when we get back towards the end to make sure everything has been done accurately. So we don't have to worry. If it does twist, we can figure it out. We can sort of untwist it when we get to the end. So I think I may have twisted it, which kind of helps with showing you guys how to do it if that does happen. Because, hey, it's not a problem. There we go. That's still coming together nicely. See, sitting side by side every second one. Let's do a few more. Once we get past these first few rows, it becomes way quicker, way easier. Also, as a little bonus, I've got something. I'm going to show you how you can use this fantastic little clasp. I don't think we've got it in the product category. I think I forgot to put it in the product category, but hopefully if Dad is watching, he can put it in today's category for this. For that little sliding clasp. It's a really cool clasp. It's going to be the last thing I show you on the stream, but essentially it is a really, really cool way to finish off your work there. So I'm adding my second last Delica. This is where things change a little bit, just after we've added this second last bead to the row. So if we have a look, see that? I've got 2 beads left, but there isn't really anywhere. So if I wanted to pick one up, there isn't a bead to thread into, is there? So when you have a look at it, wait a minute, let me just make it so I can see all of your comments. There we go. Okay, now if you have a look, see how I've got 2 little beads at the end there? It doesn't really allow us to do what we want to do. You can't pass into the next bead. You've got to pass through this second bead as well. So this is a slight difference with that stitch. We're going to pass through at the end 2 beads, not just the one. So see that? We're coming out the very, very end here. And see how these are sitting now one below the other? This is where we're going to do our little turn, our little peyote turn. So if I bring in one bead, I'm going to pass into this bead, and then, sorry about that, I'm going to pass, loop around into this bead, and then into the bead of the previous row. Okay? So not this bead that I added just recently, the one from the row before. So if I pass down into that, I'll go into that first little bead bar there, and the one from the previous row. We're skipping that first bead into the second, and then the third bead of the previous row. Pull it all the way through, and that's going to sit now. Whoops, just dropped it. Really nicely in position where you would expect it to sit, right? See, it's sitting in the right spot, but hey, we're sort of going in the wrong direction now. We're not going the right way. It's easy, though, to turn around. We're doing like a figure of 8. So coming out of this spot, we're going to jump straight across and into this bead on this side over here. So we're not going to pick up any beads. We're not going to pass into anything else. We're going to just go straight from here into this bead and turn ourselves around. If you have a look, we can go through that first bead. And hey, while we're here, let's go through the next one. And then that third bead as well from the previous row. See? So we're kind of bringing ourselves back to where we began, towards where we added this bead in. So we go through those 3 beads, pull it all the way tight, Make sure your thread doesn't get caught or anything, so just check it as you go. There you go. And now the thread is nicely hidden in this little gap. It goes straight up into there, through those 3 beads, and now if we come down into this bead, we're now back in position to continue with our next row. So first things first, once we've done this, we need to just check that our pattern is actually looking right. So see this? It looks good here. This line is going this way. This is kind of going that way. This is kind of going that way. But I've got a slight twist, I think. No, I don't. Yes, I do. Just the very last one has twisted, it seems. So when I get to that, I've got to make sure I go into the right bead. The easiest way to do that is just check, based on row 3, that you're going into the correct color. So I need to go from here into a gold. Once you get past this row, it becomes really easy. You don't have to worry about it anymore. It's super, super easy after this row. This is the one where you've just got to be careful. This is the one you need to be most careful with to make sure you get your pattern correct. So now I'm doing row 4. So if I have a look at row 4 real quick, it says I need 1C, which is one of my little ones just here, this color. And I'll pass into this little bead there. The good thing is it's a nice, fairly simple little pattern. And once you sort of start learning what it should look like, it's really easy to figure out what should come next. So if we have a look, we want to continue with the gold, which is a D. So I'll just, whoops, got my thread caught there. Pull that little D through there. And we're just essentially filling the gaps. Every single time we're filling those little gaps. So now I'll pick up another colored D. Pass through there. And pull that tight. See, look, that's starting to look good, isn't it? It's coming together. If it's twisting, make sure, there, this is the color that we want it to be through next. So now whoops, just make sure I've got it round the right way. Which way is it meant to be going? Yes, this way. So now I'll go into it with one of my little cyany colored beads. Is that right? Is that what I'm doing? Let's just check. Yes. So next I've got a color C, I believe. Into there. Pull that tight. That fills that gap. Then we pick up another color C and fill the gap. Pick up another color D, which is the gold. We skip that little downward sticking bead into the upward sticking bead and just fill that little gap. So you can see it becomes, the technique itself becomes super duper duper easy. Now I've just got to make sure this isn't twisted around the wrong way. There we go. That's around the right way now. Almost. There we go. So see that? We want both sides to look the same. So see this? It's kind of looking like that, looking like this. And we need to make sure that this side is the side that we're going to thread into. So pick up a D. See, right? This is the only time it can get a little difficult, is if this twists. So we just have to make sure that we're going into the correct beads. After this, it doesn't twist anymore. It's not possible to put it in the wrong spot. So it's really, really, really easy to just continue with your little pattern there. Ooh, almost got my tail thread caught. There we go. There we go, look at that. So that's our 4th row done. So now I'm going to flip it over because I find that that's easiest. I'll put it into right hand view for all you right-handers. Once we get back to this end, this is just a normal peyote turn, so we don't have to do anything complicated. I'll just put it into right hand view very quickly. Turn off this little thing here. And ready, by the magic of television, I'm now right-handed. There we go. So now that I've got this into position, see, I'm coming out of the very endmost bead. So we're going to do a normal turn. This is the thing with the odd count. One side you do a normal turn, the other side you do an odd count turn. So I'll do my next normal turn. So on this one, we're already coming out of that last bead. The way to know which one it is because we only had to pass through one bead, and there's a nice place we can just thread back straight into. We pull it tight, and it's going to just sit perfectly in that little gap. Now I'll grab my next bead, which, don't forget, if you want to get this pattern, it's available from our website if you want to get the pattern just on its own. Otherwise, if you go and get the kit, you will get the pattern and full instructions on this all included. But I've also got a nice little bonus if you're buying it. So today's date is the 11th of February, 2022. If you get this kit before the 20th of February, 2022, you will get as well 5 bonus patterns. So you'll get the mermaid pattern and you'll get 5 more. So I'll show you in just a second what one of those bonus patterns looks like while I continue just doing my normal peyote stitch. See that? There's a nice gap. So we go into the one that's sticking out. And just continue with our little pattern here, filling each of those little gaps according to the beads of our pattern. The good thing is once you've done a few rows, once you get to like the repeat section, you'll soon learn what the repeat is, and it becomes really, really easy to make this little design. You almost don't even have to think about it. You don't have to know what beads you're using or anything. But essentially, here we go. I'm now adding the second last bead once again. So whenever it comes to adding the second last bead on your even numbered rows, no, your odd numbered rows. Sorry. Yeah, when you're finishing an odd numbered row. So for example, I'm doing row number 5. At the end of row number 5, I'm going to have to do an odd count turn. At the end of row number 7, I'm going to have to do an odd count turn. At the end of number 9, and so forth. So here we go. If I go now from this little bead, I'm going to pass through both of these two just here. And I'm going to show you my odd count turn again. So let's add that second last bead, put that in, and go through both of these beads so that we're coming out of the very, very end. So now I need to pick up the last bead of the row that I'm currently doing, which I'm doing row number 5, and the very last bead of row number 5 is one of these color Bs. So if I do my right angle my odd count peyote turn, essentially what I'm going to do, I'm going to add my bead just here, and I'm going to go diagonally into this bead, down into the one over here. We're doing a figure of 8, so we're going to go down and across, over into this bead, into this way, through all 3, and then we can come down that bead. So I'll show it to you a little slowly. I've picked up my bead, of course, pass down into that second bead and the bead of the third row of the previous sort of column, as it will. The third little group there in the third row there, and then the previous row. So see that? I'm now coming out of this little gold bead just here. So if I get my thread over, you can see coming out the gold bead there. If you have a look, we've got 5 little beads. This is the last bead of the row that we've added, but because we want to continue adding peyote, I need to be coming out of this bead in this direction. So the easiest way to do that is to jump across from this little gold bead through those 3 beads there, through all 3 of them. Ready? That's going to bring us back out to the end. Pull it all the way, and if you have a look, that little thread just disappears in there. And now I can go down into that little bead, the end of row 5, and in position now to do row 6. So I'll blast out. I'm going to flip my work over. I'll do row 6. So if you're new to peyote stitch, essentially peyote stitch, it's called fill the gap, is another name for it. So we pick up the next bead of our pattern, which in this case, it's one of these purple beads, color A, and we skip that bead and pass into the next one. And that will fill that little gap, and now this bead sticks out a little bit further, ready for our next row when we come back to it. So now I'll pick up the next little bead as well, which is a black. The dark ones, they're not actually black, but they look almost black, so I call them blacks. So into that little gap there, pick up another one of the, what is actually a metallic iris color. Go into there, add in my little purple beads now. This is what's sort of giving us a really nice scale look, if you will, is that these beads sort of graduate in colors. That's why we've chosen like a nice sort of sea opaly teal color, then like a blue for the middle of these little sections. You'll see each of them in just a minute. When I've done a few rows, you'll really start to see it. So we can continue now again, and into the next row. Sorry about all the coughing. I'm trying to hold them in. Pull that tight. There we go, fill the gap. Do the next one. Into the last little bead. There we go. So this is the end of row 6, which is a nice even number turn. So we can just do a normal peyote turn. When we finish an even numbered row, so the way that you know it's an even numbered row, for example, is if you have a look, you can just count the bottom 2 rows. How many beads you have in the bottom 2 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that means we've just finished row 6. So now I'm ready to start row 7. So when I finish row 6, I can do a normal peyote turn. When I finish row 7, that's when I have to do my odd count turn. So just pick up a bead. We do our turn. We're coming out of this last one. We just go straight down and into that very first little bead just there. Pull it tight. If you are completely brand new to peyote stitch, we have on our YouTube channel a really good video showing you both. There's an even count video and there's an odd count video as well, if you want to check those out. They're on the website, they're on the Bead Spider website, but you can also watch them on our YouTube channel. So we have a massive YouTube channel now. It's, well, I say massive, it's not massive, but it's getting ever larger and larger. We've got about 30,000 subscribers now, which is great. So if you haven't subscribed, do subscribe, please. And on there, you'll be able to find, it's one of our older videos where we've done a tutorial. We've got lots of bead stitch tutorials, actually. There's all sorts of different ones, including one on peyote stitch as well, for both even count, which is the best for beginners. If you've never done peyote stitch before, I recommend you start with even count peyote, and then you can upgrade, as it were, to odd count peyote. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to put the diagrams. You know how I put diagrams into my tutorials sometimes? I didn't have time to do that today. But anyway. Okay, so now I'm about to add the second last bead of this row. So when I put that in, I'm going to go through both beads to make sure that I can do my right angle weave, my odd count peyote turn. So down there, I'm going to go through this once more to show you, and then I might, how's everybody feeling about this odd count turn? After this odd count, wait a minute, do the instructions show you how to turn when doing the odd count rows? Yes, so the instructions that you get, unfortunately I don't have a copy of them here. I could have shown you the diagrams to sort of take you through the process of it. But anyway, I'll show you it just here. But of course, the instructions come with full odd count peyote instructions. So all the diagrams and everything come included, and the pattern. It's not just the pattern, you get the odd count instructions as well. So anyway, I'm going to do my turnaround now. So just remember, we want to add a bead just here. The best way to do it is with that figure of 8 shape. So we're going to go down into this bead here. We're going to turn around and go down into this bead and the bead below of the row below, but the previous earlier row. See that? So down, we're going to do our figure of 8. I'll try and hold it super steady. Pull that through there. Ready? That's going to add the first little bead to the top. Little corner here. Now I'm coming out of that little bead there. I'm going to jump across. I've just gone down this diagonal. So from this bead into that bead and that one, we're going to complete our figure of 8 by going up through these 3. Pull that all the way through. Like so. And now we go back into that bead that we've just added. And we're in position to continue working again. So I'll pick up my next bead. All the way through. Pick up a gold. And another gold. A metallic iris. Another metallic iris. Do we feel like we've got the hang of this little... where is it? There we go. Yeah, do we feel like we've got the hang of this odd count peyote turn? You know, do you reckon we've got the hang of it now, or would you like to see it a bit more? Because I can obviously do it again. The nice thing is, once we get to the end of this row, it's a nice, simple beginner's peyote turn. So once I've filled that last gap, I can just come back and turn around once more. And I'll do the turn one last time, and I think that will do us for now. And then I'll move on to show you how to do this little part of the clasp. So once I've done that, I'm about to show you how to make this little oval piece. It doesn't take long. It's hopefully nice and clear for you all. I'm going to just peyote back, and then I'll show you one last time. Great. I've got that little thing. Hopefully Jermaine was going to bring me in some extra little beads in a minute towards the end, and I can show you another cool clasp as well. But anyway, yeah, here are the diagrams. This is what the instructions look like. I'll just show it to you. Whoops, put it back to left-hand view. So there we go. You can see you've got the weights that you're going to need there. You've got the instructions on how to read that. You've got your cut out. You've got the full pattern with the repeat section as well. You've got the patterns for the clasp bit. See, look, there's the second side of your stitch there. But then you've got all your diagrams for standard peyote stitch at the start, which then you come back up, and then this shows you how we do our odd count turn. See, look, we go into that bead and so through those two, then we go back into this direction here, we jump across, down through those beads there, and back through this one, which we added in this step just here. See that? So that will add those all in. We go down there, back up, and back out this bead that we added in this step just here.
Thank you very much.
Oh, keep going, keep going. I've got another few minutes. Because once I've finished. Elaine says, are the patterns downloads? Yes, you can download it, but if you buy the kit, you get a printed version. Here we go. And then you just go back with more, doing normal peyote, and then here it is. I've shown it to you in one diagram. You go through that bead, do the figure of 8, and down that little bead just there. There we go. Hopefully that all makes sense. But essentially, you can see I've also got all my clasp diagrams here as well. Look at that. They look like good diagrams, don't they? Wouldn't you think? 3-dimensional. The whole thing. Well, anyway, we're going to cover this part now. So I'm going to show you how to make this cool little clasp. By the way, if you do get the kit before the 20th, we have 5 bonus patterns. This is one example of a bonus pattern. This is one of the more basic ones. We've got some beginner ones. We've got some more complicated ones, which this is it there. And it also has a significantly longer word chart. You'll see. See that? See, there's one repeat is from here all the way down to there. But yeah, this is one of the 5 patterns that you would get as a free bonus if you buy the kit before February 20th. Right, let's now have a little look. I will skip this after all, and I'm going to show you how we're going to make the little clasp section, shall I? So this one, it's a really fun little design. I think you'll like it. Essentially, I'm making a little hexagon. If you haven't done so before, essentially, the little bar piece of my clasp, this little bit here, it's a row of 19 beads. It's got 19 beads across, and then 6 beads in each row. So if you have a look at the top here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you just stitch the 2 ends together. So 6 piece, 6, fold it together, stitch the 2 ends to each other, and then you make this little strip here. But essentially, I'm going to show you how to make the strip, and I'm going to show you how to make this one, but that is how you do this little bar piece. It's literally just a flat piece that you then stitch the 2 sides together into a tube. But how we do this one here, essentially, we're going to pick up, I think it's 36 beads. I'll just check that to be certain, but I'll show you the way that we're going to do it. I'll even show you it with not my actual pattern that is part of the design. I'll show you with a slightly simplified version to make it a little bit cleaner. But yes, 36 beads. So, grab myself about 1 meter of thread. That's plenty. Don't forget, Elaine asks, oh, I can't do patterns without a word chart. Well, you get the word chart with it as well. It's included. But if you're more the visual person who prefers the pattern, you've got the cutout pattern reader included as well. Now, again, this time I'm going to be, I don't need to stop a bead, I'm going to make myself a nice little ring. So I'm going to just make it in a very, very basic shape, this one. And essentially, I'm not going to do the full pattern of how it would look, which looks like something I don't appear to have. Yes, I do. Here we go. So instead of doing it to this pattern, I'm going to do it down into a simplified version. So this is the corner, 3, 1 corner on the end. I'll slide it down a little bit, but not too far so that it just falls off the end of my thread. We don't want that. And essentially I'm going to pick up the same again, which is going to do the other side. So those 9, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, and that's going to bring us back to the beginning. So if I pick them all up, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There we go. Then a corner. 1, 2, 3, then a corner. 1, 2, 3, and finally one last bead. Slide it down, and towards the end, make sure they don't slip off the end of your thread here. Bring it down, leave yourself a bit of a tail. See that? I got a tail. And now what works best is if you pass all the way around and try and just pass through all of those beads that you've just picked up. So I'll just go through a few to start with. That's going to sort of bring it into a bit of a loop shape. And now I can continue around. I want to make sure that I'm exiting pretty much back where I began. So continue around all of these little beads here. Keep on going. Looping around. So this is, there we go. Now, the important thing when we're doing this, I'll show you a cool little trick, by the way, for tying this into a single piece. You can see where the tail thread is. That's going to bring me back to where I started. So here we go. Bring this back to here, through there. And if I stop just before where this tail thread comes out, there we go. We've created this nice little ring piece here, but because they were both exiting at the same point, I can tie a small knot. Have a sip of tea. But yeah, I can tie these two threads together, and then I don't have to worry about them. Tie them nicely. That's going to make my little ring there nice and secure. And now this is probably, wait, I'll tie a second knot just to make sure it doesn't come undone. Just left over right, sort of gist, how you start your shoelaces, you know. Pull that in there too, get that in there, there we go. And now this is the part that is important. If you are doing this, see how I've laid out where my corners are? You can only go through one bead. If you go through more than that, the pattern will end up a bit wrong. So we want to make sure we only go through the one bead after. So if I just zoom back in, get this little bit of fluff out the way, I'm coming out, you can see my tail thread is here. I'm going to pass through just one bead only. Don't go more, don't go less, only one bead. So just pull this a little out the way. And through just that one little bead just there. See that? No more. So if we have a look at that in diagram form, just very quickly, I'll show it to you here. We added all these little beads, and then we went through just one bead more. Only one. Okay? Now, once we're here, I can just sort of start doing my, what is technically circular peyote, but when we get to our corners, it's a little different. So if I just do it like normal, I'm exiting from this bead, same as with peyote stitch, skip the first bead and into the second one, right? So you're getting all the different types of peyote in this one, even count, odd count, and circular. Crazy. So there we go, I'm coming out of this one, so I'll pick up another bead and go into here. Do it again. Into this third bead here. And add one fourth one. And it's going to bring us into position to do our little corner stitch. So see that? We're coming out we're coming out now right where this little bead will be, where we're going to want to do our corner. See that? This is where we're about to do this corner. Elaine says, I'm new to circular stitch, haven't done that either. Well, we've got diagrams as well. If you get that pattern, you'll get the diagrams for that as well. So anyway, now that I'm at the corner section, this is where things are a little different. We don't pick up one bead, we pick up two beads, right? So by picking up two, it gives us that tiniest little bit extra now. So if I have a look, you'll see there, I'll pull that, And now we've got 2 beads that sit kind of a bit awkwardly, but when we get back to it, see how they're sitting like this just here? This is going to allow us to add an extra bead in a later row. So now I'll keep going around, add 1 bead here. Okay, I've reached my next little corner section. See this? I'm at my next corner. Let's pick up 2 beads again. 1, 2. Skip that little corner color bead and pass into the next one, right? Pull that there, and that's going to sit just here. It doesn't matter if it's not sitting quite right. It will get fixed up a bit later. We'll go again. Just pick up 1 bead, skip to the next, and that's going to bring us to the next color section. So let's pick up 2 beads again. 1, 2. Skip the color bead and into the next one. Just the 1 bead. I almost went through 2 beads there. Make sure you don't go through 2 beads. Only ever through 1. There we go. There's that 1 bead there. Pull that tight and let that just sit in that nice little corner. Just pop in there. And now we can just peyote along this little strip. So 4 little beads added in peyote stitch it should be. 1, 2. So this is why you can only go through 1 bead. If you went through a second bead, you wouldn't line up with your corners when it comes to filling them in. So it doesn't end up giving you the right shape. But by going through just 1 bead only, you end up with that perfect shape. So let's continue. Here we go. I've added 3. Time for the 4th one. Into there. And now I'm exiting at my corner. There we go. So I'm at the corner again. Let's pick up 2 beads. Skip that little color bead and into the one after. Because I've got it so tight, my tension nice and firm, it's sitting really nicely into those little gaps. There we go. There's the next. Pick up 1 bead, into the next one. Make sure you don't go through 2 beads, only through 1 bead. There we go. Pull that tight there. Back to a corner, so let's pick up 2 more. Rebecca says, that's a good idea, Matthew. I'm glad you like it. Do the next one. Skip that little colored bead and into the corner bead and into this next one here. That through. There we go. Pick up 1 bead. Skip that gap. The thing with circular peyote stitch is you need to have an even number of beads, otherwise you're going to have a bad time because it doesn't quite match up in the end. So it needs to be an even number of beads, hence this one's 36. So now we're going to skip this last corner bead. That's going to bring us back to where we began. So through that little bead, and then we're going to do what's called a step up. And more or less, stepping up is just passing from the beads that we were working in into the beads that we added so that we can add beads into the gap. So see that now? This is where I am. I'm coming out of this little bead here, so I'm going to step up by passing into the very first bead that I added on this little row. See that? There's that one just there. Pass through that, and now we're now in position to start adding our next row of beads. So if I pick up 1 black one, into the next gap. So we're just filling the gaps now. It's really easy. We've done the hard work. The 2 bead bit is now over. We're now just going to fill the gaps. So into this one here. Into this one here. So just one of the 2 beads that we added on our corner. And now ready? This is how it really becomes a corner. We'll pick up just 1 bead and pass down into the second of our corner beads. See that? And that's going to sit there, and that gives that a really nice sharp little corner. Pick up another bead, pass through here, pick up one more, and we go into our corner. Now that we're in the corner, sorry. Now that I'm in the corner, I'll pass down that little bead there, pull that tight, and I'll just continue peyoting one bead, one bead, one bead every time. And every time I get to a corner, I'm going to add a bead in those two as well. So into this pair here. Pick up one bead. Down into there. And there we go. That's going to sit nicely. Look at that. We're getting a really good shape happening now. Let's pick up our next bead. Let's do this other end. And again. One more. Whoops. Keep going. There we go. I've almost finished this little clasp now. It's not too much longer. Pass into this corner. We're at the other side now. Pick up one bead. Down the next one. See, we're literally just going around it now. Filling one bead, one bead, one bead, one bead, all the way around. In every single gap. To give ourselves that really clean finish. And the last couple of corners, we're almost there. Pull that tight. One more. And the last corner. Here we go. Into this bead here. So we're back where we started pretty much, and we need to step up again. See that? So if we just step up, there we go. So now I'm stepped up and I'm ready to now go around again. Traybit says, and I accidentally just bought the kit. Here we go. So there we are. Now that we've done this, I've stepped up and I'm ready to add my outermost row. I'll do it in a different color just so that you can see it, just for a bit of change. So I'll do all these in gold, shall I? Actually, I'll do it a little differently. There's a little something I'll show you. See that? And now it's going to give it a really nice little border. And we can just peyote one bead through each of these little spaces. See that? So just into every single gap, we're going to add one bead, including our little corners. We're going to skip those and just add one bead every time. See? One bead, one bead, one bead. How's that for zoomed in? Try and make sure I'm holding it nice and steady. And then just fill these little gaps every time with one more bead. Pull it tight to make sure it's nicely in position. So fill the gap again. Do the next. See, we're getting there. We're almost all the way around. It's looking nice, isn't it? And I'll show you as well how we make our little strap, which attaches our little piece to our actual bracelet. So if I just continue a little bit longer, it's not going to take long, but then I've got something really cool to show you, which I think you'll really like. I'll show you it very, very soon. So make sure you're sticking around for that. It's something really cool. If you haven't seen it before, it's a great way to finish off these pieces if you want to. But you'll have to wait for it. It's a very, very interesting, super, super cool little thing. But you've got to wait and see. It's a surprise. Surprise for the end. Which should be in about maybe 5 or 10 minutes, I would think. So you don't have to wait too long. We're not going to be too much longer. So we're almost all the way around through here. And then just one more little bead. Oops, I got my tail thread caught. We want to make sure we don't get that caught. Just pull that out if I can. Come on, Mr. Tail Thread. Behave. Yep, no, that's fine. Thank you. No, that's plenty. That's great. That's okay. It doesn't matter. Okay. Last bead into this gap here. And there we go. See, look, there we are. How does that look? What do we think of that little hexagonal shape? And you can see I've stepped up. If you wanted to, you could go round and add more beads. You would just add 2 on this corner here, 2 on that corner, 2 on that corner. But essentially that gives you that really lovely little design. This is the size I like it at best. But of course you can keep going wider if you prefer. But I think this size matches really nicely with the size of the tube. So it's not too big. This is how I like it. Now I'm going to show you how to create this little strap. So again, it's going to be just using a little bit of odd count peyote, but I'll show you how we get it started. This one starts a little differently, but it's a super cool. This is another cool little technique, which I hope you'll like. I'm full of good techniques today. I'm going to continue until I'm exiting from this little bead over here. So through, which one am I currently coming out of? That one there. Go down through both of these. Yep. And into this one just here. Right, so check this out. I think you'll like this. I'm going to show you it with some weird colors just so that they stand out. So I'm going to use a gold and maybe I'll use blue just because they're weird but they stand out as different. So I'm going to pick up 2 little beads. 2 beads, you hear me say? Yes, that's right. 2 little beads is what we're going to pick up first. So this is a great way to start if you're already sort of attaching extras onto the end. If you're coming out the wrong way, just to do one first turn, this works really well. Pick up 2 beads. We're coming out of this side, so we're going to just skip and jump straight into this little bead over here. So we're exiting this one from the wrong side. We're going upwards. We're going to pick up 1 bead, which is going to go here. Then we pick up a second bead, which is going to go in here, and we pass through here. Now, it's not going to sit just right at the beginning. It's close, but it's not quite right. But we are going to fix it in a minute. So like I said, another good technique, this one. So we're going to go into here and pull that tight. One more. And into here. And now I'm going to pick up a gold and I can do my little turnaround. So through this one, so just like normal peyote, we do a normal peyote turnaround. Now I'll pick up a bead here, add a purple one there, add another purple one here. And I'm going to go through 2 beads, but this time, because this bead is already here, I can just sort of skip the whole turnaround part and go down through this one, down the bead previous, like that. Pull that tight. There we go. And now that's sort of connected these 2 beads to each other, so you'll get a much firmer join here and here. And now if I go down here, we're perfectly in position to start doing normal odd count peyote, exactly like we've been doing in my tutorial all along. Now we're back in position to just do it like normal. So it's a really quick and easy way of starting a little peyote strip. Was just to do that little 2 bead turnaround method. Clever, right? Don't you like it? I know I do. So there we go. Pick this up here and just do a normal turnaround. Pass into here. Through the next bead. And the one after. And see, look, it's going to be just like a normal normal odd count peyote turn. We're going to pick up a gold. We're going to do that little figure of 8. So I'm going to go down 1 bead and into the bead below it from the row previous. Pull it tight. Jump across, up through all 3 beads, like so. Pull that tight as well. And down into this bead. There we go. And now let's just have a quick little look. So if we have a look at the piece that I made earlier, here we are. So here's the bit that I made earlier, right? See there? If I want to attach it to the center of this, Colleen says, I have to remember this. No, you don't, Colleen. You just have to put a bookmark on my tutorial. You just have to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and then you will never have to remember it. It'll all be there, written, ready for you. So if we have a look, see that the center of my design is just here. So they're not quite going to stitch to each other, so I need to do one more last little row to make these actually attach one to the other, see? If I did it in this little gap, they would be out of position because there's less space at the top and less at the bottom. So if I want it to be directly attached to the center, I need to do one last row, and that's where we finish this little strip. Oh, I'll put it back to right-hand view, shall I? Yes. So I'll just fill this one last time with beads, and then I'll show you how to attach it to the other end. And then, like I said, I've got a really good surprise for you coming at the end. So make sure you stick around just a few more minutes to see something really cool. So into that last little bead there. There we go. So now if we have a look, I've got some nice little beads sticking out here, which are going to fit perfectly into that little gap right there at the center. Or did I just make a mistake? Maybe I did. Yes, possibly I did. I had it already in the right spot. Maybe I need to do one more row. Yes, I do. How silly. Oh well. Yeah, because there's the center. I didn't need to do those beads. I'll just take them out. I thought I didn't. I thought I didn't need to. Oh well. Undo that. Undo that. and undo that. There we go. So yeah, coming out of this bead here, if you have a look, they're going to fit nicely into each other, like that. So if you have a look, there's that nice center of our piece just here, that little gold bead in the center where, I mean, it makes like a nice little arrow, doesn't it? I want it to just fit nicely in that gap. So the way I'm going to do that is just stitch one into the other, to zigzag stitch them up. So basically, exiting from this bead, I'm going to go, okay, I need to add a bead. It's this one over here. So if we have a look, it's through this little bead here to get them aligned. See that? So I go through there. Oh, look at that. My tail thread. My thread's come off the tail. Rethread it. Forgot to rethread it. There we go. It's the handy thing about this Spider-Lon. The thread stays really good. Okay, so exiting from this little bead here, I'm going to pass into, see where, wait, wrong side, there we go. See where that little gold one, where it's going to fit there? Into that little gap there, we want it to fit. See, we're exiting from this bead here, this little corner. We want it to fit nicely in there, so I need to go through that first little dark bead. So if I just pass into it like this, we can just do them one separate from the other with the first bead, and then it becomes much easier afterwards to sort of keep them together. So as I pull that, you'll see that's going to sit nicely in there. See, I'll just separate it a little bit so you can really see what I'm doing. I'm going to pass back into this side, so it's almost like doing up a zipper sort of thing. So back to this side, pull that a little tighter. Now you have a look, see? See how it's joined one to the other? Now I'll pass into this little gold bead here. That's going to rejoin it to the other side. Try and get this little thread out the way a bit more so it's a bit clearer to see what I'm doing for you all. Here we go. See, there's the next one. Then we're going to go back over to our purple side here. So from here into the next little purple bead. Or actually, is this blue? The blue bead. Pull that through as well. And you'll soon start to see there's another zigzag added. Here we go. I tell you, it's a little bit difficult doing it flat on the table. Much rather be holding it in my hands. But there you go, see? Now we'll do another one. So back over to this side. Just the one bead. Pull it through. There we go. Pull a little tighter. See that? That's starting to come together now. And we can just go through that very, very last little bead into here. And obviously you'd want to have this tight. I'm just showing it so you can see the thread, but obviously you would want to have it pulled tighter than this. But essentially, when you pull it tight, it just brings them together, stitches them one into the other really, really neatly like this. And we can just now jump back into this end here and just reconnect them one to the other, the two ends into each other. So you can see the little beads of this little central section, we want to go back into those. So just now into this one here. We're sort of working now in the opposite direction. Very good. Back into our bracelet part and also into our little strap bit. See, look, I've done two beads at once here. Pull that tight. Try not to let the thread get caught. There we go. Into there. Looks good, yeah? And finally into here. And that's going to complete the stitch. There we go. Look at that. And that joins them nicely to each other. You can even go back around a third time if you want to, just to make it extra secure. And if we now imagine it, there is the end of our bracelet. Doesn't that look good? See, just imagine it's... Here's one I made earlier. See? Identical. And that's stitched. Just one straight to the other. Easy peasy like that. Did we like that? Did we like that? So, as promised, I've got a super cool little surprise for you. So, this is something that we've bought. We had them for a little while now, but essentially, they are these really cool little clasps that we have got. They are made in Germany. They are called slide clasps. So the way these things work, if you have a little look down this little edge, there's a very thin gap in the metal. See that along there? A nice thin little gap. What we're going to do is create an extra row of beads that's going to fit in this, and we can just slide this sorry, we can just slide this straight over. So instead of making a clasp, you don't have to bother at all. You can just use this slide clasp and it will attach to your piece to make it one finished piece. So if I show you it really quickly, just here, I'll do it from this end, I guess. Where's my needle? So the easiest way ever would be, actually I will do one extra row. I'll add my extra row just so that it is the most accurate. So this little piece, my beadwork is about 22 mil, so I've got a 24 millimeter clasp. So just if we just thread that on there we go. If I just add one more row of peyote to this little stitch just here, just give me 20 seconds to prepare this. You'll soon see, I'll get this to the other end, and you'll soon see how this little clasp works. Yeah, so Colleen says, on a peyote? Exactly. It's something that is, this is how to adapt it so that it will work on a peyote stitch. So if you've seen these slide clasps before and you've gone, oh, you can only use those on square stitch or on loom piece, I've come to tell you that that is not the case. I'm going to show you how you do it. It's a little revelation to make these super useful, because I know that peyote patterns are probably the more common than the square stitch ones. So this is how we're going to do that. So one last time, I guess, I'll show you that little turn around. So pull through both beads, pick up that one little turnaround bead, down through two, exiting from the previous row, up directly the bead beside, through those three there, and down into this bead here. Now, this is how we're going to adapt this little piece. See here, Colleen has said, wait, where is it? She says, on a peyote? And then that's what and then when I said no, everybody was thinking, on a peyote? Yep, even here, on a peyote? Yep, it will. It will go onto a peyote. Are you ready? This is how we're going to do it. We're going to turn our peyote stitch into a square stitch. So, exiting from this bead here, it doesn't matter what color you use. I'm going to just pick any old bead, and I'm going to just loop around once, and I'll go through it again, and then through there. There we go. And that adds one bead sitting nicely on the top. You go now, we're going to travel along until the next up bead. So pull that, wait a second, it'll become much easier once I've got this fixed. There we go. So travel along now into the next little up bead. Come on now. There we go. And just like we did just a second ago, I'm gonna add on one more bead into here. So through there, just looping around so that that bead now sticks out one further. Through there, down into that bead at the bottom, and we're going to continue along till we get to the next little one. Here we go. And I'll grab another bead. Pull that nice and tight just there. Go back into it again to make it extra secure. And let's continue to the next one. So we're going to go all the way around and do this on each of these little beads here. I hope I don't run out of thread. That would be inconvenient. Pull that through. See that? It's like a little loop. Pull it tight. There we are. Through the bead again, just to secure it. Down there. Into the next. And try not to get them caught on your previous ones. There we go. Into this one here. Pull tight. Grab that one there. And just keep adding. Maxine's just joined. She's at home. With chilling with our cat Rocket. Here we go. Just keep going. Just keep going. We're almost there. Get ready. Oops, did I just get my thread caught? Yes. There we are. See, that's something you got to be careful of. Don't let your thread get caught. By the way, if you can see the thread here, don't worry about it. It's all going to get hidden. There's two ways that you could hide it. I'll tell you one, but I'm not going to actually do it. But I'll tell you when I get to the end. We're almost done. Just 3 more to go, and then you'll have seen the magic. Try not to get caught there. There we go. Just a couple more. Thanks for joining us, Joe. She says she's... oh, I've gone through one bead. She said she's got to go, so she's off. Thanks for joining us, Joe. But you're about to miss out on the best part. The most fun little way. So there we go. We're almost there. I'm going to just do these last ones a bit quicker because I'm getting lazy and I want to just get on with it. You should be going through them each twice, but I'm going to just do these last ones just once because, you know, laziness. It's quicker. Through there. Get it in position. There we are. And finally into the very last one. Am I going to end up? No. Yes, I am. I went into the wrong bead. Shouldn't have done that. Let's just do it the same way we've been doing it all along. There we go. Just pull that back out there. There we are. I don't know why I went all the way to the edge. There we go. Let's go back into that bead. That's better. And add the last one. There we go. And now that's going to add this nice little row of beads to the top. I'm going to secure this last one because it's important. The others aren't as important, but this one is. Pull that tight. And now if I turn it over, I'm going to go through here and I'm going to just fill these little gaps with a bead. So pull that through there, and I'm going to put one in there, one in here. See, like this, and it's just going to become a straight little line. Now, if you wanted to, but I'm definitely not going to do it today, you could fill the gap below down here with a size 15 bead, but like, you know, it's faff. So it does look a little bit better if you do that, but it's not a necessity in the slightest. It's entirely aesthetic if you want to do it. I'll show you what it looks like without it, and if you want to do it, you can do it, but it's not necessary in the slightest. So here we go, there's the last one. Into here, pull that last little bead into position, and look at that, we have a lovely straight section right here. And I'm going to just weave down into my work just to get this thread out of the way. Obviously, I'd recommend going through this thread a couple of times because it's important that it's secure, but for the sake of demonstrating for today, I'm not going to do that because it's quicker to not do that. Let me just get through that little bead. There we go. Yeah, pull that through. Get through there. There we are. And down into the work. Get this thread out of the way. Take that off. There we go. And now, Colleen says, okay, this is awesome. Hacks, she says. That's right. I'm doing a nice little bead hack just here. So, wait, where are all my things going? Disappearing. All my little things are disappearing. Here we go. So now, whoops, make that one. Why isn't it going away? Ah, wait. All over the place. Here we go. Now's it working? What is going on over here? Okay, so now that I've got this little edge row just here, all I've got to do is just, with this little slidey-on-y clasp piece, see that little gap just there, the little line in the thing? That will just slide perfectly now. Takes a little bit of time, a little bit of fiddling, but you can just do it over your little gaps now. See that? See one? Then just spend a bit of time wiggling them into position. And it will go over the top. Oop, I zoom out. Didn't realize it was so out of focus. Just spend a bit of time. Ah, that's why. There we go. Just wiggle them into position over the top of that little bit of work there. And there you go. Look at that. A slide clasp is now on a peyote bracelet. Da 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 dun 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 dun. And then if you have a look, you just undo this little piece here. Oops, wrong button. Wrong way. Pulled it off. This is why, wait, there you go. This is why you are meant to close these little ends over. Close that one, so it's not going to come off anymore. And then you attach your second end to this, and then there you go. That just clips on like this. How cool is that, right? There's your little clasp for one side, all attached on a peyote stitch bracelet. See that little gap there? See those little air gaps? You can fill them with size 15s if you wanted to. Wayne asks, can you fill it? Should you do a second row? You can if you want to, but it's not necessary. It would have to still fit with inside this gap, so I probably wouldn't really recommend it. Just the first one is enough, like that, because it needs to actually fit inside here. See that? So you could use bigger beads if you wanted to, but there you go. That's sort of it. And there you have it. Yeah, as I said, you can see there's teeny weeny little gaps, but you could fill those with a size 15 if you want to. It might be a faff. You might not be bothered. I'm certainly not. But there you go. Sliding clasp, which you can get those. Hopefully they're now in the product category. We've got, it's the 24mm size that you want to use for that slide clasp. Hopefully, I'll just check on the website actually. Shall we take a look? I will show you on the website. We'll see if they're on there. And if they're not, I will make sure they are. So yeah, if we just check out the Bead Spider website. Wait a minute, it's all going a bit astray for me. So if we have a look, where's my little website? Here we are. So if we jump over to the website, there's links in the description that will take you to all the different places that you'll need to go on our website. If you want to check out our range of Miyuki Delicas, we've got more colors coming early next week. We will be then having up to 300 colors of Delicas. But anyway, from the Bead Spider website just here, if we have a little look, if you click on view all related products, or if you're on the stream there, check out the description on YouTube. It's down below. On Facebook, it's up above. And if you click on that little thing where it says make your own, it will take you to not what I thought it would do at all. Whoops. It will take you to, wait, let me find the page. I need to fix that then, clearly. What is going on? Let me just see if I can sort this out. Here we go. Hopefully this will work. It's very odd. Here we go. Is my internet still working? Yes, yes it is. Good. Okay, great. They're in there. So if we have a look, the kit, which includes the pattern, is right here, but it also includes those bonus, 5 bonus patterns. So if you like this pattern just here of the mermaid scales, you'll get the mermaid scales and 5 more. 5 more patterns. Which, if you have a look, see where it says get 5 pounds of patterns for free, subscribe to our newsletter, and you could get this little fella here for free. Of course, if you want to, also up the top here, you can choose your currency, so you can pay in US dollars or euros if you prefer, and it will work just the same. These little slide clasps, this one here, the 24mm works. I should remove this one because it's too big. This one here, you need to read this section. See that? See where it says 10 by 24mm. So you want, it doesn't matter what size, but by 24mm. So there's a nice silver color one here by 24mm. There's a crossed hatched one here as well. I need to see what the difference is. This actually looks like it's the wrong sizing possibly, but there's a really lovely rose gold color. Sorry about that. Plus we've got the really nice sort of silver one. This is the plain one that I just used just now. And then, of course, you've also got this crosshatch goldy one. You can get the kit here. You can get, the kit is here. The pattern just on its own is this one, which it's £5. But if you get the kit, you get the pattern included. So you don't have to buy both. And you also get the bonus. Come down here. I've got some Delicas just here. There's only a selection. But otherwise, if you prefer, from the menu, you click Beads. You go See Beads. If you go into Miyuki, there's the Miyuki 11 Delicas. Oh, come on now. And from here, you can see we've got a lot of colours. Lots of colours with even more coming in the next week or so. Look at them all. And this is only in the blue section. I haven't even got to the greens or any of that. Look, there's all green ones, blues, pale blues, light blues, teals. We've got them in colour order. Wait, come on, load up, my friend. There we go. So they're all in colour order. So if ever you want to find a particular colour, you can just continue along and you'll see we've got the full rainbow there. You can go, oh yeah, cream, yeah, that's a lovely one. And just keep going as you want. So many pages, look. And there's going to be even more coming. Look at them all. Every colour you could possibly imagine. Well, maybe not every colour, but you know. Loads to choose from. So you could, if you wanted to, in theory, change it up. Oh, I didn't realize it looked so weird. Sorry, the screen looks so funny. Oh well. Anyway, I'll pop it over to my face. Oh no, I won't. Apparently I won't. Let's just get rid of this thing here. Come on now. Sorry, one sec. There we go. So yeah, if you wanted to, you could always very easily change the colors. If you got the pattern of this little fella here, you could very easily change the colors so that instead of like a purple, then blue, then sort of sea opal teal color ombre. Come on now, focus, my friend. Yeah, instead of the sort of the ombre that we've gone with here, you could go with maybe like a red and a yellow and a red and an orange and a yellow. You could go with whichever sort of 3 colors you want. You could go with like dark blue, medium blue, light blue if you want to. You can change it however you want, but we've sort of done it so that the scales can look like anything, like little flames, red, orange, yellow. You could go purple through to like a magenta and then like a pink or a red or something like that. Whatever 3 colors you want, you could do that. You can change the little the goldy tone for a more yellow if you wanted to. You could go more silver. You could make it whatever you want. It's entirely up to you. You just choose whatever beads that you like. But don't forget, if you do get the kit, here it is. You'll get 5 bonus patterns. This is just one of them that you'll see here that you can play with. This and 4 more. We've gone for some really interesting ones, but it also has all word chart too. So you've got the full word chart on how to do it for each of the 5, plus everything that you're gonna need. But yeah, that's essentially it. So basically, to recap everything that we did today, I showed you, if you missed the beginning, you can go and rewind a bit, of course, but I showed you how to do your odd count peyote, so which is essentially you do an odd count turn on one end and then the even count turn on the other. So anything that is an odd numbered row, so row 3, 5, 7, 9, etc., those rows at the end, you're going to be doing an odd count row, and then an odd count turn, and then the even numbered rows, 2, 4, 6, 8, so on. At the end of those rows, you'll just do a normal even count peyote turnaround. So really, really simple and easy for those ones. And then I've shown you my really good technique for doing those turns. If you want to see 2 other techniques for odd count turns though, you can also have a look on our YouTube channel. We've got a video specifically on the odd count turns. I showed you how to make this little toggle piece here, which essentially it's circular peyote to start off with, but on each of these little corner points, to give ourselves that little pointed corner, we added 2 beads on each of the little vertices. That gives us that corner shape, and then we just add 2 rows of peyote. I showed you a really cool technique as well on how to start your little piece here with odd count, a sort of hack way of starting with odd count peyote once you've already on a piece you've already got. I showed you that as well. How to make this little strap, how to attach it, which more or less it's a zigzag. So we're just gonna go 1 bead from one side, 1 bead in the other side, 1 bead on this side, 1 bead on that side, all the way passing through until they stitch together. And then the last thing I showed you was how to make our little piece, this one that I appear to have lost somewhere, how to add on that sliding clasp, which I don't know what I've done with the piece, but essentially I showed you how to turn your odd count peyote, how to turn peyote stitch into a square stitch so that you can attach a slide clasp. So that is everything that you've learnt today, which is a lot, isn't it? That's pretty much the recap of it all. There you go, see? Peyote stitch becomes slide clasp attachable. But yeah, thank you all very, very much for watching. If you haven't done so already, please do like and share this video, subscribe to our channel as well. Of course, if you haven't done so before, over in the links in the description, we have, especially just after the stream, it's a great place to go and chat with each other. The little bead group that we've started, it's I think 25,000 strong now. We're running a competition in there, which maybe I'll be able to show it to you if I'm very, very quick. But yeah, if you haven't done so already, you can join our Facebook group, which is over there on Facebook. The link is there in the description for you to check it out. But we're running a new competition which is called the Stars of Bollywood. So if you want to sign up and to the bead group, you can also enter our little competition that we're running, Stars of Bollywood, and you can have lots of fun playing on there. You can enter and you can win prizes. I almost forgot. If you want to make our last Friday's kit, it's still on sale. So that's the little heart-to-heart bracelet kit, which I made last week, which is this little fellow just here. It is still on sale, but only for a couple more days. So you've got till the 14th. You've got until Valentine's Day to get our lovely crystal heart-to-heart bracelets. See that? All those little hearts looking lovely. If you want to get this kit, it will also be on sale just for the next few days. So you've got till Sunday for that one. Or no, Monday. You've got till the 14th. Whenever the 14th is, I don't even know. Today's the 11th, so you've got till Monday to make that one if you want to do this. And then, of course, if you want to get this gorgeous little pattern just here, you can go and get the pattern on its own if you want to. Sign up to our newsletter if you're brand new, and you could even get the pattern for free if you want. Entirely up to you. But anyway, that is pretty much everything from me for this week. I will be back next week with another really fun little tutorial. I'm going to do something a little bit different that you may not have tried before. So hopefully you can join me. We're going to be sending out an email early next week so that you can get the kit nice and early. You can obviously set a reminder for the video. That's definitely the best way to know when we're going to be going live, is to sign up to the newsletter, because you'll get it straight in your inbox saying, hey, we're about to go live in 15 minutes time, come and join us. But yeah, so thank you all very, very much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed all of that information that you learned. There's a lot. I'm gonna have to go through and make separate videos, I think, on all of those different techniques. But yeah, thanks all of you for joining me. I hope you had lots of fun. I know I did. But yeah, I will see you all same time next week. So 3 p.m. Friday next week. I'll see you then. Lots and lots of fun coming. Something a little bit more Mother's Day themed, because we're not too far from Mother's Day. But yeah, hopefully I'll see you then. Have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you next week. See you later. Bye-bye.